What if the NFL playoffs were not separated by conference? That's right. In this simulation video, today we're going to see what would happen if we just had the 14 best teams in the playoffs and they're all on the same side of the bracket, not separated by AFC and NFC, but all together seeded 1 through 14. So let's take a look at the bracket. Just like in real life, two teams get a first round bye. In this case, it is the same two teams. The Chiefs and the Packers have the best record overall, so they both get a first round bye. So in real life, the team that gets the first round bye would play the lower seeded. It's not going to work like this. The 1 seeded Chiefs will play the winner of the Buccaneers-Ravens game, and the 2 seeded Packers will play the winner of the 7 seeded Titans versus 10 seeded Browns game. So it's more kind of like just a normal bracket, like it'd be a 16-team bracket if the first top 2 teams didn't get a first round bye. Pretty much just like that. None of the whole that seed plays lower seed or whatever that. Just straight up bracket. So let's look at the wild card round matchups first. The first one is Buccaneers versus Ravens is the 8 and 9 seed. We also have Steelers versus Rams, the 5 and 12 seed. The 4th and 13 seeded teams, Saints and Dolphins. Dolphins are the only team that didn't make the playoffs in real life that are in this video. The team that they replaced is the Washington football team, because even though they won their conference, they are not one of the best 14 teams with record-wise, so they are not in this tournament. The next matchup is 6 seeded Seahawks versus 11 Colts. The winner of that game plays the winner of the 3 seeded Bills versus 14 seeded Bears. They are the worst team in this tournament, as the top 13 teams all have a record 10 and 6 or better. The Bears have an 8 and 8 record. They barely sneak into this. They had a tied record with the Cardinals and Raiders, but they won tiebreakers that get them into this tournament. And the last matchup is 7 Titans versus 10 Browns. They play Packers. The winner of that game plays the Packers in the next round. So, without further ado, let's get on to the first simulation. That'll be 8th seeded Buccaneers versus 9th seeded Ravens. So both the Buccaneers and Ravens have an 11-5 record. They're the 8th and 9th seed, and the winner of this game plays the Chiefs. So I won't talk that much. Let's just go ahead and sim to the end of the game and see who moves on to play the Chiefs. No score early on. Ravens on the board for 7-0. Can they knock off the Super Bowl champions? They're up 13-0 over the Buccaneers. Wow, Buccaneers have done nothing offensively. Finally, again, the board 13-7, 16-7. It's a 9-point game. It's a 2-point game. They're still in it. 16-14, 23-14. The Ravens got to pull away. And it's over. Buccaneers are knocked out in the first round. I did not see that one happening, as the Baltimore Ravens knock off the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 23-14. They move on to play the Chiefs in the next round. Next matchup is Steelers versus Rams. So Steelers versus Rams. The past several simulations I've done, the Steelers have not done good. Like, I at least know the past 2 ones. They have just looked pretty bad and lost in blowout games. They are playing the Rams, which is a significantly worse team. Another thing I forgot to mention, I know the draft has been completed. I'm still using last year's roster because I'm still using last year's playoff standings. I think once I do most of the playoff standings that I want to do, like playoff formats that I want to do for simulations, I think I'll switch over to the new updated rosters, like after the draft and after free agency, and maybe do like a tournament with that. So that's why you still see Jared Goff on the Rams, because I'm still going off last year's standings. It just seems like the right thing to do. So I'm going to go ahead and sim to the end of the game. Can the Steelers avoid a blowout like they haven't been able to in the past several simulations? Rams up 7-0 early on. It's 7-3. Steelers have just done nothing in these simulations. They're up 14-3, 14-10. They make it a little closer. Now they take the lead 17-14. Can the Rams offense do anything? Steelers up now 10 points, 24-14. 31-14, and now it's the Steelers being the one who's blowing out the Rams. 31-17. The Rams defense showed up in the first half, but the second half, specifically the third quarter, were not able to do anything, and the Pittsburgh Steelers win 31-23 over the Rams. They move on to the next round. They will play the winner of the Saints and Dolphins. Saints versus Dolphins. I'm not sure why Ryan Fitzpatrick is starting. I'm not exactly sure why. I swear it's been 2 of the past several videos, so I don't know why he's starting. But seeing how this is last year's teams, I guess it really doesn't matter, because he probably should have been starting instead of Tua at some points anyways, but I guess it doesn't matter. I would change it, but I can't edit the depth chart because I'm just, watching the teams play. But yeah, anyways, not the last video I did, but the one before that, where it was the second chance bracket. Both the Dolphins and the Saints did really well in that video. Obviously, neither one went all the distance because that would have been ridiculous for a team to win that many games, but both of them did very well. So we'll have to see which one does better in this video by winning this matchup. I would expect the Saints to win, but you never know. Dolphins can be sneaky sometimes. Saints on the board first, 7-0. Now it's 14-3. 2 touchdowns very quickly for the Saints. They're up 17-3 now. Dolphins not doing much. 17-10. They're only down by a touchdown. Now it's 2 touchdowns. 24-10. 24-17. Dolphins keeping the game close. Now the Saints up by 2 touchdowns again. Now it is 38-17. Now the Saints starting to pull away a little bit. 38-24. 41-24 is the final score, and the Saints beat the Dolphins to move on to play the Steelers in the next round. The next matchup is Seahawks versus Colts. Seahawks versus Colts, the 6 and 11 seeded teams playing here. Seahawks haven't done great in simulations I've done, but they also haven't done horrible. Colts, they really haven't done well either. So both these teams have gotten eliminated in the first round several times in the simulations. So, I don't really know what to expect from this video. I guess I'm just going to have to go ahead and sim to the end of the game and just see who moves on to play either the Bills or Bears in the next round. Colts up early 7-0 into 7-3. Now Colts up 10-3. Can they hold on? We've seen them blow leads before, 13-10. Can they hold on to this lead at 16-10? Still only now it's a 2-score game, 24-10. Now Colts pulling away 27-10 because Seahawks get a comeback. It does not look like it's going to happen. 30-10. We might get our first very big upset. Colts win 37-10. The 11 seed is moving on to the next round to play either the 3-seeded Bills or 14-seeded Bears. In theory, the Bills should be able to win this game handily, but for whatever reason, Madden really likes the Bears. They always seem to do good in simulations, and I don't know why. The Bears are by far the worst team in this whole simulation, I think by 2 games, because the Dolphins were 10-6, and then which were the 13th seed, the 14th seeded Bears were 8-8. So they're the only team that doesn't have a winning record in this simulation. But for whatever reason, the Bears are always good in simulations. The first simulation I did, the March Madness one, they made it to the Final Four. And then in all the other simulations, they've either won a game or have done really close and almost won a game, or almost won the series in the thing I'm talking about, the NBA one. Yeah, I don't know. The Bears are always in these simulations, so I would not be shocked to see a Bears victory. But the Bills should win easily. They have a much better record than the Bears. Guess let's just see what happens. And the Bills are already up 6-0. Didn't get that extra point, though. Bears up 7-6 now. They're in the lead by 1 point over the Bills. Low-scoring game so far. Bears up 10-6. Very defensive game. They're up by a touchdown, 13-6. Man, the Bears actually win this game. We're tied 13-13 in the 4th quarter. Now Bears up by 7 points, 20-13. Are you kidding me, Bills? Oh, they tied the game late, 20-20 in overtime. Can they win? Yes, they do. They kick the game-winning field goal, and the Bears choke with the seconds left in regulation. I thought for sure the Bears were going to win that game after they were up 20-13. The Bills score a very late touchdown, go into overtime, and win the game 23-20 over the Bears. They're going to play the Colts in the next round. The final matchup of the first round is Titans versus Browns. The only matchup in the first round that has 2 teams from the same conference facing off against each other. All the other matchups were an NFC team versus an AFC team. This one has 2 AFC teams playing against each other. That is because the AFC had 8 teams in this tournament, while the NFC had 6 because they had better teams than the NFC did last season. So the Titans versus Browns. Browns are always going to manage simulations, and Titans usually aren't that good. So I pretty much expect the Browns to win this game, but you never know. Seeing how Madden, for whatever reason, loves the Browns, I don't get why. And the Titans seem to always lose in the simulations. But this is probably when the Titans win a game, because usually Madden loves to prove me wrong. Low scoring game in the first quarter. There was no score. Now Titans up 7-0. Now we're tied 7-7, 14-7 at halftime. Titans have the lead. Now they're up 17-7. Of course, I said the Browns were 100% going to win this game. Now the Titans are blowing them out 24-7. 24-10. Still 2 touchdown game, but now it is 31-10. Titans win. They move on to the next round to face the Packers. And let's go ahead and take a look at the updated bracket now. A lot more AFC teams, and in case you're keeping track, there are 2 NFC teams left, and there are 6 AFC teams left. AFC definitely dominated the NFC in the first round. The only team that was in the wildcard round that was from the NFC that made it out were the Saints, and obviously the other team is the Packers, who had a first round bye. We had 2 upsets: the Ravens beating the Buccaneers and Colts beating Seahawks. And I would definitely count Ravens beating Buccaneers a big upset, because Buccaneers are always good in Madden simulations. I was actually really shocked that they lost to the Ravens. And had the Buccaneers beat the Chiefs, we would have had a Super Bowl matchup in the divisional round. But anyways, first matchup up is Chiefs versus Ravens. So Chiefs are coming off a first round bye. They play the Ravens here. They got lucky that they didn't have to play the Buccaneers, because I think the Chiefs would have probably beat the Buccaneers in a Madden simulation, but obviously in real life the Buccaneers probably would have taken care of the Chiefs. But yeah, they got a little lucky playing the Ravens. I think that's a much easier matchup for the Chiefs rather than the Buccaneers being here, so they should be grateful for that. But let's go ahead and sim this game and see who moves on to the Final Four in the semifinal round. Chiefs up 7-0 early on. Ravens did not score in the first quarter. Still a low-scoring game. Now we're tied 7-7. Chiefs up 14-7. Can the Ravens pull off an upset? 14-10. They're only down by 1 point. 21-13. Still a one-score game. Now we're tied 21-21 in the fourth quarter. Chiefs up 28-21. Now they're up 35-21. They start to pull away. 35-28. Ravens tried to come back, but they got themselves in too big of a hole. Chiefs move on to the Final Four / semifinal round, and we'll play the winner of the Steelers and Saints game. So Saints versus Steelers. Saints are one of the 2 NFC teams that are left in this tournament. They are trying to avoid elimination here over the Steelers. I expect the Saints to win this one. Like I said, Steelers don't usually do good in Madden simulations. I was actually kind of shocked they were able to actually beat the Rams in the last one. Let's go ahead and see what happens. Maybe the Steelers shock me and they get to the semifinal / Final Four round, but I expect the Saints to get there. Steelers up first 3-0. Now Saints up 7-3. Now Steelers up 10-7. Now Saints up 14-10. Now they're up 21-10. They have an 11-point lead over the Steelers past halftime. 24-10. They're up by 2 touchdowns. Steelers have not been able to do anything so far in the second half. Saints kind of blowing them out here. 31-17, 34-17. And Saints beat the Steelers to move on to the next round to face the Chiefs. Next matchup is Bills versus Colts. So Bills versus Colts. This was an actual playoff matchup in the wildcard round, where in real life the Bills barely escaped the Colts. Kind of like how the Bills barely escaped the Bears in the last round. Still don't know how they were able to pull that off. The Bills have I swear in all these simulations, the Bills have close calls in the very beginning. But here they are. They are facing the Colts, which was the biggest upset that came out of the first round. Can the Colts continue the momentum to beat the Bills, or will the Bills win this game like they did in real life? Let's go ahead and see what happens. Colts up early 7-0. They get on the board before the Bills. Now we're tied 7-7. Colts now up 14-7. Now it's 14-10. At halftime, it's 14-13. Bills only down by 1. Still a one-score game. Now tied 21-20. Now Bills up 28-21. Oh boy. Now we're tied 28-28. Close game again for the Bills. 35-28. Can they escape this one too? And they will. Another game that the Bills escape. They beat the Colts 35-28. They are in the Final Four and will play the winner of the Packers versus Titans game. Packers versus Titans, a real-life matchup that happened. I think it was snowing when the matchup happened, but the Packers blew out the Titans. Let's see if they can do it in Madden as well. Can they win this game to face the Bills in the next round, or can the Titans pull off a big upset and make it so there's 3 AFC teams in the next round instead of only 2? Packers up 3-0 early on. Who's going to get the first touchdown of the game? It will be the Packers up 10-0. 10-7. Titans still keeping it a little bit close. 17-7. Oh, but now the Packers blowing them out at halftime. 24-7. Can the Titans get back into it? 24-10. It's a 2-touchdown game. Oh, they're getting back into it. 24-17. 31-17. Titans needed. Oh, it's still a 7-point game. Can they get back into it? They cannot. And the Packers are on to the next round. And let's look at the updated bracket. The top 4 seeds are the Final Four teams. So really no upsets so far in this tournament. We'll have to see if we get upsets going into the Super Bowl. Will we have an AFC versus an NFC team in the Super Bowl, or will we have two NFC teams, or will we have two AFC teams? We're just going to see with the next matchup of Chiefs versus Saints to see who will be the first team to punch their ticket to the Super Bowl. Can the Saints end the Chiefs' run of winning all these simulation videos that I do? Would not be shocked if it happens. However, I expect the Chiefs to win because for some reason, Madden loves them to have, or Madden has them win every single simulation I do, except for one. They didn't win the first one I did, but other than that, they usually win pretty much all the simulations I do. Let's see what happens, and we'll have to see. Can the Saints make it to the Super Bowl and knock off the Chiefs? Chiefs up early, 7-0. They get on the board first. They're already up 10-0. Saints already in a hole, 10-7. They're only down 3, but now it's 10 points again, 17-7. 24-7. Saints need to do something. They need to do it fast. Oh, they did it quickly. 31-21. It's a 10-point game. 38-21. 38-28. Man, the Chiefs' offense is so good. 41-28. Saints got it within 3 points really quickly, and just like that, Chiefs were up 17 points again. And the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl yet again. They will play either the Packers or the Bills. It feels like the Packers and Bills are always playing the simulation videos they did. I know they played in the last one I did. The Bills have barely escaped their past 2 games. The Packers have only played one other game so far in the simulation. They handled the Titans pretty easily. But the Bills barely beat the Bears, and then they barely beat the Colts. So let's see if they can do that again and barely beat the Packers, or maybe they can beat them more comfortably. They don't really care how they do it. They just want to win the game. Or can the Packers continue this momentum and advance to the Super Bowl to have an AFC team versus an NFC team in the Super Bowl like we normally see, or we could see 2 AFC teams in the Super Bowl. Let's just go ahead and sim to the end of the game to see who moves on to play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Bills up early, 7-0. We're tied 7-7. I feel this could be a close game. Packers up 14-7. We're tied again, 14-14. In the second quarter, will anyone score before halftime? They're not. It's still 14-14. Bills up 17-14. Oh, Packers got a safety. Now it's 19. Now it's 24-19. Bills in the lead. Can Packers get a touchdown? They do. 27-24. We're tied 27-27. And the Packers kicked the game-winning field goal. It looked like it was going into overtime. But the Packers are able to avoid overtime. They move on to the Super Bowl to play the Chiefs. And I feel like it's fitting. The 2 teams that have won it all in my simulation videos, the Chiefs versus Packers, are playing in the Super Bowl to determine who will win another simulation video I have done. So it's all come down to this. Chiefs versus Packers in the Super Bowl. Both teams had a first round bye. Surprisingly, we haven't really seen a matchup between these 2 teams in any of my simulations before, which is actually really surprising. You'd think the teams that had the best record from the AFC and NFC would somehow meet eventually. Even when I had a 4-team playoff and both these teams were in it, they didn't even meet. So it is surprising that it hasn't happened yet. It's a matchup I'm interested in seeing what happens, because this could have been an interesting Super Bowl matchup. I think it would have been a really good one. You know, there's 2 State Farm boys in the Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. But yeah, anyways, an AFC versus an NFC team. So it didn't even matter that the conferences were, you know, put all in one and they weren't separated. We still have an AFC versus an NFC team in the end. Let's go ahead and sim to the end of the game to see who wins the Super Bowl of the NFL playoffs, but it's not separated by conference. Chiefs up early, 7-0. We're once again tied 7-7 now. Chiefs up 14-7. Man, I can barely talk. Chiefs up 21-7. Packers get a little bit closer, but now it's 28-14 again. Will Chiefs win another video, 35-14. 35-21. Packers are trying to make it closer, but Chiefs continue to increase the gap all the time. 42-21. 49-21. Chiefs blow out the Packers in the Super Bowl, and they win another simulation video. Another one. Man, will we ever get a simulation video that the Chiefs don't win? You never know. Packers were not able to win this one. They did win the first one, which is the one that is the most viewed on my channel. So, hey, I mean, Packers, you got that going for you. Anyways, we'll look at the updated bracket as I end the video out. The Chiefs win the whole thing like they usually do. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll have more Madden and more simulation videos to come. Once the NBA playoffs begin, I will have some NBA simulations as well coming on NBA 2K21, so stay tuned for that. I'll see you all later. Peace.